Chapter 1. The story starts off with a young boy called Caine. He lives with his father in a small but comfortable home in a town south of Ireland, Derry. Caine's excitement wakes him up, surprised as to whether or not he has being offered a job. But unsurprisingly, this wasn't the case. Caine has been struggling to make ends meet with his dad due to his illness and his unemployment. Caine heads down for breakfast, a glass of milk. After breakfast, Caine heads out. Caine is both desperate and determined to get a job, reaching into his pocket, retrieving a flyer informing him of job vacancies in his area. It is explained that during one of his job interviews that Caine is indeed a 19-year-old in search of a job. And his main reason for not pursuing college and looking for a job is to primarily take care of his father. Caine is faced again with another setback as the recruiter deflates his hope and chances of getting a job by asking Caine to consider lowering his expectations. Yet his father reassures him that he will, in due time, get a job. Caine is confused as to how that will be possible, explaining their living circumstances and how they are barely managing to live by each day. His father still reassures him that if his mother was still here, she'd also encourage him to keep his chin up. Caine burst into anger, explaining how she isn't here with them anymore. Caine quickly apologizes as he leaves the house to go for a stroll to cool his head and to gather his thoughts. He sits on a bench beating himself for the mistakes he had made, but he is suddenly interrupted by the cries of help he's heard. Upon rushing to the scene, he notices a girl held against her will. Ordering the man to let her go, he responds saying, "This is none of your business, kid. Now be on your way and pretend you saw nothing, got it?" Caine threatens to call the police if the man doesn't let go of the girl. The man replies he'd kill Caine by slicing his throat if he dares to try it, and warns him, giving him a final chance to scram. Caine's pride as a man suggests he remains there and does all he can to protect the girl. Strengthening his resolve, he rushes to him with all the might he has. Fortunately, he lets go of the girl, but this results in him blocking Caine's attack, punching him and pinning him down. The man questions Caine as to whether or not he has heard about an existence of spirits called keys or keyholder who use them, and unsurprisingly, Caine is unaware. The man showcases his keys ability, causing Caine to tremble in fear. Caine's determination to escape lead him to stab the man with the knife which he had dropped, startling the man. Caine breaks free and attempts to run, but is caught within a split second and tossed to the ground. Caine's eyes are filled with regret as he begs for mercy, but sadly he is pierced in the heart and dies. Chapter 2. As Caine bleeds out, he hears a voice of a mysterious being in his head, ensuring him this is not the end for you. Although Caine is confused, the being keeps his word as he revives Caine. The key assures itself he has found a new vessel he will use to roam the earth with as he takes control over Caine's weakened body. Putting Caine's body to the test, he wraps himself with threats. The key assures itself he will personally eradicate all the keys in this era one by one. Possessed Caine confronts the man who murdered him. To his amazement, he's surprised Caine sustained such a damage to his heart, but comes to the conclusion that he was initially a key holder. Possessed Caine orders him to release his key, lest he drags it out itself. Both Caine and the mysterious man engage in a battle. Unsurprisingly, Caine overpowers him with his enhanced physical prowess, ultimately forcing the key out of him. The key releases its true form. Caine traps the key using his ribbons, but the damage done to Caine's body suddenly catches up to him. The key breaks out, aiming to quickly finish the battle. Chapter 3. Possessed Caine decides to swiftly end the battle to reduce the amount of damage sustained. He creates a ribbon decoy, distracting the key from the attack later launched. Caine evades his attack, gathering his ribbons into his left hand, creating a large spear piercing the key's head, which ultimately results in its death, and finds the key's wielder. He questions whether or not Caine ran away from its key, convinced he couldn't defeat it. Caine interrupts by ordering him to say the name of his sire. We are then shown Caine inside his body, viewing the memories of what happened right after his death. Determined, he tries to stop this individual who took over his body, insisting he doesn't want to hurt him. Confronted by his key, he explains he doesn't want to take a person's life. The key informs Caine that sooner or later he will have to accept his fate. Right after Caine passes out, a mysterious group of people show up to the site. They both apprehend Caine, but to their surprise the suspect flees from the help of his boss.